Hello everyone and welcome to LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Round 4 out of 16 already. We're in the desert this time and it is a night race. Cannot wait. This is going to be a very good one. A great circuit for racing. Lots of overtaking opportunities. Very technical and easy to make mistakes at as well. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for that. Strategy will be very interesting. Overcuts, undercuts, they can work either way. I'm looking forward to this one very much. As we see Nifo going across the line, I think, did they just set a P3 or are they just starting another lap? They might have been doing a warm-up lap in between. I can't quite remember. We're going to watch on board and see what their sector times are like for now as they head towards sector 2. Just into turn 4 first. Smooth on the throttle, really high speed corner. You try and carry as much minimum speed as you possibly can. And they're down by a tenth, so they're not gaining too much, but maybe they can gain in the other parts of the circuit to get some time back. A 28.4 is up there for now, so it's not looking too bad. Dave Raptors joins the session. He's going to be in this one. Something to notice that Sidewinder, they have had some issues, unfortunately, before the session. Their game just reset completely, meaning that they're on a bit of a as-you-go kind of setup. So hopefully Sidewinder can salvage something from this, but we'll have to wait and see. We've got reserve drivers, Katana, and Andrews, of course, Mizzy, Dave Raptors, EU drivers, so they're going to be in this one as well. So we've got a couple reserve drivers on the board. Let's see what they can do today. Katana and then Andrews, we know from previous experience for sure. Nifo comes on the final corner. They are going to be going straight into the pit lane. No improvements there. I believe, was that Sidewinder? No, that was actually Heischler moving out the way for Nifo earlier on. Sidewinder is going to try and set their first lap of the session. They joined late, so they do have the Max Verstappen helmet on, if you were wondering why. DRS available. Let's see where Sidewinder can put themselves. They put themselves at 28.6, so not too bad regarding their situation. Let's see what they can do a little bit later on. Of course, we've got Eager Pro on his way to set another lap of the session. He's got a 36.3, so a lot of time that he needs to gain. Not a very competitive lap. I'm not gonna say that he doesn't know that. Maybe I'm speaking in a bit of a harsh manner, but he knows what he's got to do. He's just got to get it done, and he will get it done. Very capable of doing so. Round the final corner to start their second run in qualifying. 9 minutes on the clock. DRS available into turn 1. Heavy braking. Let's see how they get it done. Very easy to lock up. They hit it okay, but very conservative on exit. They're going to lose a lot of time for that. DRS once again available. A very interesting place to overtake. You can get it done if you play your cards right. We'll have to see how that goes in a few moments' time. Now let's move on the throttle in 5th. Up by 3 seconds, of course, as their last lap wasn't exactly too competitive, so they just need to get an improvement. They've gone purple in the first sector, it says, so can't be too bad so far. Unless that's the bug, we'll have to wait and see. Trying to swing it to the right-hand side without hooking it over the outside curb too much. They get that done pretty nicely. DRS available once again. Towards turn 11 now. Long sweeping corner, braking as late as you can and lightly as well. You don't want to brake too heavily for that one. Open up the steering as much as you can and onto the throttle. Very easy to lose the car. Downforce dependent is the corner right there. And now onto the final back straight of the lap. Another purple middle sector. That is very possible, but it might just be a bug. We'll have to wait and see. Round the final corner. Oh, big correction, but it's still going to be a lap. DRS available. What's it going to be for Eager Pro? It's going to be a P6. It's going to be a 28.9, a 3/10 difference from the cars ahead. So they've got a lot of time they need to gain there, and that is probably a couple of those exits where they went a bit too high on the gears. So it's a heck of a shame, but we know that they can do a lot better for sure. A 28.5 for Kaspersky. Has he just done that lap? I think he might have just done that lap. Are they going for it again? I'm pretty sure they just completed it. Zingy, he's going to complete another lap to try and improve around the final corner. What's this guy going to do in qualifying? Has he got his act together from Mexico? Yes, he has. Definitely a 27.8 dead. Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. That is a nice advantage that he's got over the cars behind. They're going to have to try and find something very, very shortly. Heisler in P2 with a 28.3. Not too bad for him. He's still got just over 5/10 to catch on to Zingy if he wants to challenge for pole position. He has the pace. It's just, can he get the job done when it counts? That is the real question. And Andrews is on a lap to try and improve. We know this guy is quick. Can he get the job done as well? The arrows available into the into the fourth corner of the circuit. Very difficult to understand what the car's doing with the lovely bugs that they brought back into the game after fixing them. With the engine revs, it is what it is, unfortunately. Sidewinder leaves the session, interestingly. Hopefully they can get back into this one. I hope they'll be alright, but currently they're P5 or lower. And regarding, once again, the situation, that's not too bad at all. Now, End Andrews sitting in that P10 position so far. Not set a lap time. Dave Raptors is going to be in the race. They won't have qualified. It looks like they're trying to not select the car, maybe. Not entirely sure. But the Mercedes round the final few corners now into the final sector, I should say. Onto the curb as they try and mash down the throttle the best they possibly can into the final corner. Smooth on the throttle. Don't bottle it here. This is the moment now. Lovely, lovely stuff. Brian Andrews, DRS available for one final time. What's it going to be? And it's going to be a lovely P2. Splitting the top two there. That is a 28.1. How about that? Nicely done for the Czech driver. Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Nifo is in P4 at the moment. Says that they're improving. Not sure if that's an old lap or a bug or anything. They're invalid, so it's not going to be a proper lap in the end. But it was worth a shot at least. It was worth a shot. Alrighty. Not many people out on track right now waiting for the final stages of qualifying until they go again. And then we'll get to see what these guys can do. Nifo was actually 2/10 improvement right there, which would have been a point. I want to say 0.2, but yeah, just about 0.2. It might be on the edge of a 0.3, but yeah, 0.2. They would be able to get ahead of Heij, but not quite ahead of End Andrews. We've got a lot more time to gain for these drivers as we go into the session. We do have Katana having a slight moment on the pit lane exit, but nothing too much to worry about. Just we'll call it tyre warming for now. And we'll keep it together. Mizzy having wheel issues. That's not ideal at all. Dave Raptors is in the session. Might be able to get one lap in. We'll have to wait and see. But Mizzy having wheel issues. Sidewinder having wheel issues. It's all going on today. At this point, there's nothing we can really do. I'll try and help the drivers later on after the race where I can. But at the moment, I can't do anything about it, unfortunately. It's a heck of a shame. Katana, no one else will know them from LSI. But, well, there's a couple of drivers, of course, that know Katana. But I've raced them previously myself. Very, very good driver. Let's see what they can do. They're going to have one lap to try and set... No. 3 minutes on the clock. What am I saying? What am I saying? They've got more time to try and set laps here. If they do mess up, that's the advantage by going a little bit earlier. It probably won't want to because the tyres are going to be pretty old. Really keeping it tight to the track limits. They're so close. They currently sit on a 28.7. They just need a little bit more time to get to Sidewinder and then a bit more than that to get to Kaspersky. Let's see if they can get the job done though on their final run of the session. Cutting turn 2 as much as they possibly can get away with. They do it pretty nicely into turn 4 now. Once again, ascend kind of corner. You absolutely throw it on the throttle, trying to smash it down before you get to the curb. Otherwise, you're going to end up trying to accelerate on the curb and losing the car. Turn 7, deadly, but manages to keep it nice and steady, especially in qualifying. Pretty straightforward to do. In the race, it might be a slight different story. Into turn 10, be careful on those brakes. A bit of an under rotation on the inside tyre. Nothing too much to worry about. Positioning the car nicely on the exit curb there. Smooth on the power into the turn 11 corner. Not really opening the corner up as much as you usually would, but still very, very tidy so far. Into the final sector we go now, up by 3/10. So this could be very, very nice indeed. A .4. They're looking to try and displace Nifo here. Nifo is on a lap to try and improve, but still, Nifo needs to get that final lap done. He's invalidated. I didn't even see. That is such a shame there for Katana. What a shame, but it is what it is, unfortunately there. Katana will be in P7 or lower. We've got Sidewinder, who is on a lap, I believe, unless they have the car ahead of them and they're not on a lap. I'm not entirely sure. We have Casper Sky, who has about to start their lap. Their teammate PJ is on the lap right now. I would like, if possible, to go on board with the current pole sitter to try and see what they can do here. Let's see. Round the final corner now. Zingy is going to start their final lap of the session to try and defend their current time. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. That's going to be it. A 27.8. They've still got about a 3/10 margin to the cars behind, but that's not ideal. They're going to be careful how long they spend sat on the circuit, of course. We've got End Andrews looking to try and improve. We're going to go on board with Haish here, who is trying to improve. We've got a couple more drivers who will do their best to set a lap time. Zingy retiring in the pit lane. He's got nothing more he can do after, oh, what a shame, that final mistake as he went to start the lap, didn't even finish it yet. He retires, and that is going to be all he can do for now. He just has to pray in the pit lane. Heisler trying to improve. We'll go through the second sector now, head towards the third, see what they're looking like, and see if we carry on with him or we go to somebody else in the session. DRS available. It's getting later and later into the night now. The track evolution has kicked in. The track is a lot grippier, nice and warm, of course, as well. Open up the steering as much as you can. Try and get that throttle down as fast as you can, smoothly at the same time, without losing too much. And it's pretty much a dead time at the moment. They're not really losing too much or gaining. Castle Sky goes across the line at 28.3. Nifojan, can they improve here? Can End Andrews improve as well? We'll have to wait and see with him very, very shortly. Nifo comes round the final corner to try and set an improvement, losing the curb like their teammate did, manages to keep it in the straight line. It's an improvement to P2. Is it going to be enough for End Andrews, though? Will he be able to get that back across the line? DRS available, waiting. He goes into the pit lane, backs off. It's not going to be enough. Nipojan takes that P2. Dave Raptors trying to go through final and first lap of the session. He will just get one in at least. That is an AlphaTauri 1-2. How about that? Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. Zingy manages to hold on to pole position despite retiring a little bit prematurely, to be honest. But he'll keep it together and he will start on the top spot. Zingy takes a P1. We got Nifo in P2 and then End Andrews in P3. The race director, just in case if we need to see it later on. And we'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? Zingy gets away well as usual, but no, that's Nifo making a mistake, and he's gonna be swarmed by the cars behind, but he manages to secure it, and Andrew's looking for the inside, but he's got problems behind. There's contact, and more contact. I do not believe it. The Haas was involved. I think there was a Red Bull as well in that kind of situation. Kaspersky, PJ managing to both make great positions after that start. Nifo trying to put pressure on their teammate immediately if possible. That is the Rebel of Heisler in P5. I don't know if it was him that was involved in a little bit of a collision or not. Honestly, I can't say. I think it was just a turn one situation. Sidewinder doing his best in P6, doing a good job so far. We got Mizzy, Eager Pro. Mizzy's disconnected, I believe. That's Eager Pro right behind. They're going to try and make that move as soon as they can, but they've got Katana right behind. So Katana having issues right off the line pretty much. Eager Pro struggling to get through the grid. They do have pressure, but right now they will be okay. End Andrews P10 after further contact into turn one. They just got tagged from behind pretty much, and then that was it. They got tagged again a second time. Dave Raptors having issues, I believe, on the exit of the corner. Can't quite recall, but Zingy leads the way after lap one. Brilliant job from him. Nifo just staying behind in P2. They command their way as they lead once again like last time around. Kaspersky and PJ, the next two teammates, just sat right here. Katana into the pit lane as well as Sidewinder to go for a repair. So maybe it wasn't Heisler that made the contact. Maybe it was Sidewinder who had a slight issue, but PJ trying to follow closely behind his teammate. No DRS at this stage, of course, for everyone, but Kaspersky needs to still try and find a bit more time if they do want to have a look at DRS later on. Heisler trying to focus his eyes on both of the Alfa Romeos as of now. We got Eager Pro in P7, and of course Katana had to take it to the pit lane. He's now got some fresh air. He's going to get that AI car of Mizzy's and make that move. And Andrews is going to try his best to hunt down Eager Pro and Mizzy's AI car as well, as he has a little bit of a mistake, but nothing too much to worry about. The ABS is off, of course, and you have to try and get used to that. Dave Raptors in P9, Sidewinder, and Katana already a time penalty there for Sidewinder. Zingy leads the way, looks pretty comfortable for both of these guys right now. They're slowly gaining, I say slowly, they are gaining quite nicely on the Alfa Romeos behind just by sitting in a civilized position at the moment, of course. DRS isn't available. It will be available right about now. Is Nifo going to go for a move on their teammate here? Are they going to look to the inside? No, they're going to sit behind. They're going to wait. They're going to get DRS. But I don't think on lap 3 they'd make a move. They made a mistake on the curve anyway, so they would have no chance at having a look. DRS is available for PJ, so he's done a great job there to get the DRS of his teammate, which allows him to defend nicely from the Red Bull behind. So brilliant job for both Alfa Romeos, making the Red Bull's life a little bit harder. And you're looking at the 2022 Red Bull, I should say. The 2023 one looks very slightly different. We are in the 2022 game, of course. 2023 will be somewhere in June. But yeah, don't get those two cars mixed up, just to clarify. Now, the two AlphaTauris lead the way by a nice amount. As you can see, they're just running off into the distance as they take out a marker board, maybe a little bit by accident there as they try and open up the corner. But yeah, Kaspersky and PJ trying to hunt down the cars ahead, but they're just losing a little bit of time. That's a yellow for Sidewinder, unfortunately, as he exits turn 7. Very easily done. His tyres are going to be nice and warm though, so we'll see what they can do a little bit later on, of course. We're going to look at the strategy, actually. Let's have a look at that. So, medium tyres for PJ, Mizzy's AI, and Sidewinder. Everybody else is on hard tyres. That's a switcheroo of Eager Pro as he makes that move finally on the AI of Mizzy. Also, End Andrews is going to have a look at some point soon is Nifo going to look at their teammate? No, they're very, very close, but they can't find a way through. That's PJ. No, Heisler losing time, and that is actually End Andrews making a move here on EagerPro. EagerPro, is he going to be able to fight back? Does he even have the DRS? He does have the DRS, but End Andrews is way too far ahead. He's gone, and that is that move done for now. End Andrews going to try his best to recover up the order. Heisler losing time to the cars ahead. Now, they do have to try and make sure they catch up to PJ, who's on a medium tyre, which is quite difficult, but we'll see. It looks like he's doing a good enough job of it now. He got the DRS just about there, but he's not got much ERS left. PJ has to make sure that they use everything they can of this medium tyre while they can, otherwise they could be in a spot of trouble later on into this race. And Andrews running away from EagerPro there as he tries his best to catch up to the cars ahead. I'm sure we'll see him in a little bit. He's got a nice amount of clean air, so he doesn't have any worries at this stage. Nifo is going to maybe look as we head on to lap 5 out of 29. DRS is available. It's a long run. It's not a lot of ERS to play with, though, as then he goes for a fastest lap to prove a point that he deserves to be in the lead of the race. We got PJ right behind Kaspersky, catching up a lot, but nothing really to worry Kaspersky. They're probably going to be working together here. They don't have anything that they need to be angry at each other about, of course, so they'll be absolutely fine. They're running in a good position. Heisler's lost the DRS, so that's good news for them. Heisler, hopefully he can get back into this one though. And PJ, his tyres are going to start to drop off around about lap 8 to 12. And then, of course, Heisler will make his return to catch up. Let's say about lap 9, the switchover phase will happen. There won't be a major cliff until about lap 12, 13, maybe 14. So yeah, they've still got a long way to go until there's a cliff, but a switch around phase of tyre advantage will come about lap 9-ish. I'm predicting at least. As we're settling down for the Grand Prix, the start phase is pretty much over. Everybody's just got to try and focus on consistency here on out. Of course, as we're saying, those medium tyres, they've got some work to do now, and they will lose their advantage later on. Everybody else is on the standard strategy. Sidewinder and Katana both making their pit stops already. We'll have to see how that goes. Nifo not close enough to make a move on their teammate. Zingy just controlling the pace so far, so doing a great job in the lead at the moment. Further behind, the Alfa Romeos are running in a nice position. Heisler's not catching up. It's very difficult for him to catch up on the straight, but he does catch up a lot into the corners, of course, as they kind of block each other to both Alfa Romeos. So it's not exactly easy. Now, that was a yellow for Dave Raptors. He is trying his best with the traction control, of course. Just trying to get that tyre data in for tomorrow. He's currently P3 in the championship for Alpine, in the F1.5 championship, so doing a brilliant job this season. He's in an amazing position to maybe challenge later on. He's got to try and get past his teammate, though, points-wise, which is going to be pretty tough, but very possible. Now, Kaspersky still leading by a nice margin, but Heish, he is catching up now, and that could be a trouble. Kaspersky's not going to want to let PJ drag another hard runner with him, so they might have to try and work something out, but they can't seem to find a way through. The dirty air in those corners are just way too difficult for Heish to deal with. He's not catching anything in the straight. He's losing a significant amount in the straight. You can see the confidence he has into the corners, but watch this, right? DRS available for the cars ahead. 3/10. It's a 0.4. Is it going to get to a 0.5 maybe by the time we get to the end of the straight? And it will get to a 0.5. It is absolutely massive, that gap. That straight line speed advantage with the DRS as well. The DRS train that they've got going on just between the two of them. Talking about a DRS train, the top two, 4.3 seconds at the moment, 4.4 as we speak. They are absolutely demolishing the field so far. So really good job from both of those guys. Doing an amazing job. And Andrews trying to slowly pick away at the gap that splits him and Haj up ahead. You can see Haj in that Red Bull just down the road. He's got a long way until he does catch it though. Eager Pro currently sitting in no man's land at the moment. He's on the hard tyres and maybe things can switch up a little bit later. PJ, we don't know exactly where they're going to end up, as that is a yellow for Heisler, unfortunately. He's lost that position to, and Andrews lost a massive gap. His tyres could be very, very hot, so he's got to be careful. Rides the curb on exit at turn 11. He just needs to try and keep composed. Just focus, and they'll be good to go. DRS might be available if he can secure it, but and Andrews gets a perfect corner, and he's going to run away with that one. So that's going to be very tough for Heich to come back on. But he gave it his best shot. He's very, very good into the entry of the corners, not so much on the straights though, which is going to be very tough. And Andrews notoriously good on the straight line, so we'll see what they can get done, of course. Heich actually maintaining the gap somewhat, but no DRS available this time around. PJ and Casper Sky, there's a bit of a gap here. There's actually a big gap between the top two as well. So now both teammate runners in 1, 2 and 3 and 4, they're kind of splitting away a little bit. PJ not so much. He's kind of just controlling the gap, I guess. But those tyres are going to start to get a lot older very, very quickly. Very, very soon. So keep an eye out for that, of course. He might want to go for an undercut. That is the idea of starting on a medium tyre. Whereas if you start on a hard tyre, you intend on going for the overcut, of course. 1.3 seconds is the gap that splits the top two. And that's not ideal for Niffer, of course. He doesn't want that at all. I'm going to go back with these guys a minute and have a quick look. We got Dave Raptors versus Sidewinder. DRS isn't available just yet. They might have an opportunity to go for a move within the next couple of corners, if not laps, as they're pretty close. Make a mistake on that curb so they can immediately forget about that run. They still managed to secure a pretty good exit. They're going to use the ERS to challenge into turn 11. Dave Raptors on the outside. Sidewinder sends it to the inside. Dave Raptors hangs it around the outside, which is so risky on that curb. But no, Sidewinder is going to have to back off, and that is great defending there for the Alpine. Brilliant, brilliant job. Sidewinder trying his best to keep with them. He's doing a good job of it anyway. They're just kind of having a bit of a headache getting past this Alpine. That's another yellow for Heisler, unfortunately, as they will now lose a position, potentially, very likely, to Eager Pro into turn 4. DRS available, here we go, slung shot through. That is going to be Sidewinder past Dave Raptors. He's not going to make the move stick just yet, but he's going to try and come back. Oh, he really does try and stick his nose in. Sidewinder has the advantage on the exit. DRS still available for Dave Raptors. Sidewinder is going to have a bit more trouble to the outside line. Is he going to go for the switchback? Dave Raptors tries to take the racing line and he spun. Oh, and there's damage. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. Got a bit too happy on the throttle as he tried his best to get the advantage. And in the end, it didn't go to plan, and that's damage. That's the worst possible outcome for that one there. That's not what we want to see at all. Ah, so disappointing to see it end like that. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Heisler's got ahead, or stayed ahead, of Eager Pro for now. So they're doing a good job to get back into this after their spin. Eager Pro just needs to try and calculate this. He's got a lot of ERS in that car, and you can see the advantage he has with the DRS in the straight line. Goes to the inside line. Heisler was defending, but didn't defend too early. So it was pretty easy for Eager Pro to just make that move on the inside. He's got a lot of ERS again, so he's going to be able to have an opportunity to defend despite Heich having the DRS. He's going to go to the outside line, going to send it on the brakes, miss the braking point, and Eager Pro will go through. That is the Aston into P6. He tried his best, but the ERS advantage in that Aston is way too superior right now at this stage of the race, as that is a retirement in the pit lane. Dave Raptors taking it, interestingly, into the pit lane, unfortunately. And that will be the end of the race. We've got End Andrews, who is trying their best to catch up to the cars ahead. PJ, once again, just trying to maintain that gap. They're doing a pretty good job of it. It's fluctuating between about 8 to 6 tenths, more or less. But these guys are securing a very nice result at the moment. And the longer that he spends in the DRS of Kaspersky, of course, the better, because his old tyres aren't going to have as much of a drop-off in pace, because he gains a nice amount of time, both being dragged along by the hard tyre runner. Now, more issues, unfortunately, for Heijler, as he will now be possibly threatened by Mizzy, but Mizzy isn't going to be able to catch, and they also have the disadvantage of tyre, of course. But that is both Alfa Romeos loving life at the moment. Maintaining the gap once again is Zingy, as Nifo can't really get too close. They can't exactly lose too much either. That's more issues, unfortunately, for Heijler, as those tyres are just way too hot. Lap 10 on those tyres for him. With a long way to go. Zingy leads the way, and as I said, he's just controlling that gap. He doesn't need to worry about anything, doesn't need to risk any time penalties. As long as he stays focused, he'll be perfectly fine. I do wonder where Nefergiant lost that gap. He's not got the energy to deploy to try and catch back up. Zingy just cruising at the moment in the lead of the race, so doing a very, very good job. He's the champion. He's a champion for a very good reason as well. So, well done to him. Nifo catching on the straight, very slightly, but not really enough to get that DRS. They need a bit more, of course. PJ, 4 tenths onto the DRS straight, so they're catching a lot to their teammate. Now, I would expect they're going to try and go into the pit lane within the next 3 laps, maybe 4. Probably not going to risk it too much more. Let's say 2 to 4 laps. If they want to go for the undercut, it'd probably be 2 laps. 3 would probably be pretty standard. I'm not quite sure. I didn't, unfortunately, check the pit stop strategy. But right now, doing a good job, these guys. And Andrew struggling to catch up too much because, of course, these guys in the train, it makes it extremely difficult for him to have any advantage on the straights. He is catching, regardless. He's doing a very good job of it, so well done to him. We'll see what he can do later on into this race when we go for those pit stops and he plonks on those medium tyres. The medium tyres are going to be very, very, very nice indeed. Subwinder goes for a fastest lap as he fits those fresh mediums on. That is a nice time to get the ball rolling with the second phase of pit stops. He's got a long way to go if he wants to go all the way on that medium tyre. Not impossible, but you're going to start to reach puncture range if you do try and go to the end, and the pace would just drop off completely. So Sidewinder having a very tough weekend so far. First the issues, then contact at the start, and another bit of contact mid-race. It's pretty difficult so far, but they can still get back into this. We got a long way to go in this race. You know, safety car is very possible still. It could happen at this stage of the race, especially because everybody's tyres are going to start to get slightly older, of course. They're going to be slightly more unpredictable. We could see somebody just lose it all of a sudden, and that would bring a safety car. Don't even need a DNF. It could just be a loss of a front wing, and that could be enough to bring out that green car. I think it's a green car here. I'm not quite sure. It might be a Mercedes, actually. Regardless of the situation, hopefully, if it is brought out, it's not a major reason. Now, Kaspersky in P3. Losing time to the cars ahead. Not really worrying too much, however. they're still in a very secure P3 position and just casually cruising at the moment. And Andrews catches by about 4 tenths since we last checked in on him, so he is slowly gaining. Ifajan losing a bit of time to their teammate ahead. Maybe Zingy's going to try and open up a bit more of a gap so he can get into the pit lane and have no worries at all if Niffa goes for an undercut or an overcut. 2.6 seconds is a decent gap so far. I probably want it to be 3 just to try and prevent any undercut or overcut. I say undercut, I should say undercut. Nifo, would he go for it? Would he go for the overcut? I think he's a driver that usually goes for the overcut. Of course, Zingy going into the pit lane earlier than Nifo, he had to go for the overcut last time around in Mexico. But from past experience, I believe Nifo goes for the overcut anyway. So Zingy doesn't really need to worry too much about a gap so far. As if he's planning, of course, on pitting on the desired lap. Loving life at the moment of both AlphaTauris. Zingy is gaining even more time. You can barely see him into the distance right now. He's loving it. Absolutely incredible. Time penalty there for Igapro, as that's actually End Andrews making a move on PJ, as Igapro makes the move on PJ as well. PJ going into the pit lane on that medium tire. As I said, about 2 laps and he is into the pit lane. Now he's going to be going to the end of the race, going long for as long as he possibly can. Let's see what he can get done. Back in the day, we used to be able to stretch it to a medium soft tyre. Now, unfortunately, it is just a medium hard standard strategy. Of course, PJ usually opting for the softer tyre to start the race, and it's working alright for him so far. We'll have to see what happens a little bit later on. Will and Andrews have an advantage? He's not exactly gaining to Kaspersky. He's not exactly losing too much either. So got a nice gap regardless of the situation. Heisler makes that move back on Mizzy after their issues earlier on in this race. They haven't made a pit stop yet. They are just trying to cruise to the pit stop window first of all. Lap 16 to 17 is the standard pit stop strategy, I'd say. Maybe 18 is also a viable option. That's what we could be seeing from a couple of these drivers, of course. But lap 17. Let's say lap 17 just to be a bit boring. Kind of standard, I guess you could say. We'll see. Mizzy's AI going into the pit lane 1 lap later than PJ's AI does. So maybe that was the recommended stop by the game. Side Wonder goes for another fastest lap as he's putting it in. Lovely, lovely stuff. The mediums, they do last for a long time, and then all of a sudden they will start to drop off. It's an interesting phenomenon. Nifo goes completely the opposite way, as I said. He's going to go for the undercut on Zingy. He's got a nice gap to the car ahead, of course, that he can see. Okay, he's not going into the pit lane. I'll go for it instead then. Let's go. Going for that undercut. Where does he come out? That's the question. He's not going to have any traffic. Giga Pro is way too far behind, and End Andrews is way too far ahead. So he's going to have a nice moment here to try and get these tyres warmed up and focus on just trying to close the gap to Zingy. Is the undercut the better option, though? Regarding that Zingy isn't in a DRS train, yes, I would say yes. But it still could change. And Andrew's actually losing about, what was that? 5 tenths to Kaspersky ahead. So Kaspersky may be pushing a little bit here to go into the pit lane within the next few laps. It's a possible option, of course. We'll have to see what they get done. Will Zingy react to Nifo, and then are they going to go immediately into the pit lane? I'd assume they would. I'd assume they would because, you know, you don't want, especially your teammate, to undercut you that way. So if you do react a lap after immediately, you'll lose minimum time, unless you want to go for the gamble later on of having a higher level of grip, course, with reduced tyre wear. He decides to go for the pretty standard scenario and just carry on. Kaspersky's looking for the overcut. And Andrews going standard as he follows Zingy into the pit lane as well. And Nefojan has got his journey towards the pit exit to see how much he's gained on his teammate as ahead. His teammate just about leaves the pit lane right now, dipping a wheel into the grass. Does Nifo as he tries his best. You can see the AlphaTauri going into the apex of turn 1 right now. They've got a big gap. A big gap right there. That's absolutely massive. I think he might have lost a bit of time, maybe, Nifo. No, he does gain time. He does gain time. Not too much at the moment. His tyres are going to be nice and warm compared to Zingy, so he's going to continue to gain time until maybe turn 11, maybe a couple turns after that, I guess you could say. Aisha, unfortunately, having a couple of issues into the pit lane, and of course, Sidewinder also having a few issues, so Red Bull leading the championship in both scenarios after round 1, but unfortunately after round 4, it's pretty tough at the moment. Riding that exit curb, the Lucas Blakely style kind of situation they got going on. It can work for you, it can definitely work. 2.4 seconds is the gap now. Nifo did catch a nice amount to Zingy ahead, so it was the right call, but unfortunately, as he lost a bit of a gap earlier on, he wasn't able to do enough to get into that DRS range. Kaspersky stays out once again. He's really going for the longer strategy. Could he possibly go for a hard medium? Is it really what you want to go for? I don't think he would. I think he's probably going to pit on this lap. He'll have a nice advantage to the cars around him. So it's something to consider for sure. Maybe later on into this race he could all of a sudden gain a lot. Although, from what we saw earlier on, the gap was about 6 seconds to the cars ahead, and that is a pretty tough gap to be able to catch. Further behind, we do have End Andrews, who's closing up nicely on PJ, maybe even looking for a move. He's got the DRS, he's got the superior tyres, he's got the outside line. PJ was going to try and take the racing line again, but no, fakes him to the inside, then goes back to the outside, takes the racing line. PJ, very creative track limits there, as he just tries to keep it in a straight line. On that hard tyre, unfortunately, it's not going to work out for him. And that is End Andrews getting a lovely move. He wanted him to just wiggle a little bit, so he went to the back to the inside a bit harder. That did force PJ, unfortunately, to miss his braking point. And that's exactly what End Andrews wanted to happen. It worked nicely. And he's ahead on that medium tyre. 15.5 seconds behind P1 and P2. Net P1 and P2, of course. That's Kaspersky taking it to the pit lane. He actually lost 2 seconds on that lap to Zingy. Zingy's absolutely on fire at the moment, so well done to him there. Lovely stuff. He goes for a fastest lap, does Zingy. So he is pushing pretty hard at the moment. I want to have a quick look at these guys, and then we'll go and check and see how Kaspersky is doing, if End Andrews has any chance of trying to catch up. And actually, PJ might be told to fight End Andrews here a little bit to make sure that Kaspersky doesn't get threatened, because yeah, they're a reserve driver, but they still score points. Hajda in the DRS of EgaPro. These guys were battling earlier on, and now they're back at it again. Let's see what they can get done here. DRS available, bit of ERS for Hajda. He uses it on exit, not further down the straight. And that is the Aston holding on to the position for now. A big gap that Kaspersky has to End Andrews. PJ actually losing a lot of time despite going for that earlier pit stop. So not ideal, not the way they wanted it to go. End Andrews, I would say though, inevitably is catching up quite a nice amount because they had that superior strategy. EgaPro had the feeling that he wanted to go slightly defensive on the Hajda. He had to just slightly move to the inside. Not what he wanted to do, but he wanted to make sure that that Red Bull didn't try anything sneaky. Right now, holding a good position. He's got a nice gap, and that is going to prevent Haj from really gaining on the straight too much as he goes off the circuit. DRS available, but Uses a lot of ERS to try and gain back the time. And maybe we'll see him go for a move within the next few laps. PJ loses a bit more time to End Andrews, as End Andrews now is trying to make a hunt towards Castle Sky, and in the meantime Zingy is trying to make a bit of an escape to Nifojan as we're on lap 20 at a 29. Watch that gap though between Castle Sky and End Andrews, 3.9 seconds it is now. We'll see how it goes in a little bit, but first of all we want to check, is Heischler going to go for a move on Eager Pro? DRS available, pushing on what's left of the ERS. He is going to go for it somewhere, but where will he go? Left or right? He's going to go left. Eager Pro stays there. Onto the curb does Heischler go to try and gain space, and he is still on the inside, squeezing him nicely there. Was Eager Pro absolutely perfection, forcing Heischler to take a compromised exit, and that is the Aston staying ahead. That was perfect defending right there. Very, 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 very perfect. And Heischler can't find a way through. He's now used all of his energy, and it's going to be even more difficult for him to actually have a second chance at going for this move. So perfect defending for Eager Pro. He's in P7 at the moment. Does have a time penalty, but he has a lot of ERS in that car, and he can control where he is for now. Time penalty-wise between these two, 8 seconds for Heischler, of course, as Heischler sped into the pit lane earlier on, so he's got a tough situation on his hands right now. Looking at the gap, End Andrews versus Casper Sky, still a 3.9 second gap, so Casper Sky doing a phenomenal job. And actually Casper Sky, of course, is on that fresher tyre. It's a very nice amount fresher as well, so he's not exactly going to have any kind of a disadvantage. Heischler is catching up nicely as Eager Pro loses a lot of time in that final sector, squirming on the exit as they leave the final S section. The ERS available once again. What is left of the ERS is being used. Is he going to go left or right this time? Is he going to change it up? Is he going to go right? Yes, he will. He will go for it. As he sends it to the inside, misses his braking point once again, and Eager Pro will take the position. DRS will also be available to Eager Pro. No, it won't. It will be available to Heischler, but he's got such a gap now between the two cars that it's not going to be enough for him to really catch. I think that is going to be Eager Pro running away with it. Maybe in the S section with a nice amount of downforce that Heisch has, he can catch up a little bit, but Eager Pro is going to be able to control quite nicely at this stage so far. Zingy makes the gap a 4-second gap, and Casper Sky makes the gap a 4.7 second gap, so he is and a nice bit of momentum at the moment. These guys are the closest ones on track that are battling. Everybody else is pretty much running away from each other, so it's a circuit that you can have some great racing at, but it's also a circuit that's so technical that sometimes everybody just kind of breaks away and they're just kind of sat doing their own thing, trying to stay on track. That's how difficult this circuit is as we speak. It's so difficult to get right. The tyres just overheat ever so slightly and it spins you round. Zingy leads the way, Nifojan P2. We've got Casper Sky in P3, 9.7 seconds behind the top two. They are leading by a mile. Got kind of Mercedes 2016 vibes at the moment. They are dominant. Casper Sky, of course, as we said, in P3, and Andrews in P4. 4.9 seconds now, 5 seconds as he loses an entire second overall to Casper Sky. He just can't find an answer at the moment, and it's looking like a very, very solid P3, but he didn't have an answer to the top two. He just couldn't catch up. Still, it's not a bad result on his return, of course, that is. PJ sitting in P5. That'd be solid points to Alfa Romeo. Not what he wanted, but it might have to be what he settles for with that disadvantage strategy. So he's still doing a pretty good job despite going for that kind of strategy, of course. Katana up in P6 at the moment. They pitted earlier on. It looks like they might try and go all the way to the end. I'm interested to see how that one goes, you know. I think we might have some excitement on the final few laps with Katana. He's going to have a lot of work to do. Look at those tyres. They are absolutely dead at the moment. Very, very tricky to get right. It is what it is for now. He's actually going to go into the pit lane as we speak. What a shame. What a shame. I thought we were going to see him attempt to go to the end. He won't give it a shot, and he will go for a set of softs. He's going to go for a fastest lap. That'll be an extra point nabbed, of course. So fair enough to him. Much to the disgust of Kaspersky, who just went and got a fastest lap. So all that effort, trying to go a little bit longer to get that fresher tyre towards the end. It's not going to be enough for a fastest lap, as Katana is going to go and steal it away. But fair enough, he's allowed to do it. We'll see what he can do. In a little bit, of course, as Kaspersky is running the solid position. This is Nifo, actually. 4.8 seconds is the gap. Zingy this time hasn't got a time penalty. What we've seen in the past is he gains loads and loads of times, loads of time to the car ahead. Let me just restart this race. What we've seen in the past is Zingy gains loads and loads of time to the cars behind, and then all of a sudden gets a time penalty and puts himself in a bit of trouble. This time around, he's just commanding the race, loving life, and yeah, got no issues at the moment. You can see him in the distance as Nifo comes over the hill. He's just leaving the shot. So very, very, very nice race here for Zingy. Sidewinder also going for that fastest lap if he possibly can, as he just left the pit lane on our camera. He's got 1 lap less in this race. To do so, of course, he's got to make sure that he doesn't get caught out on that because he is a lapped car. So he does have to consider that. Kaspersky and P3, 10 seconds now to the cars ahead. Absolutely insane. The levels of the top 2 and the levels of P1 going into Bahrain is just incredible. Nifo doesn't have an answer today, but we got some very, very good tracks coming up later on into the season. We could find some mix-ups. PJ sits in P5 at the moment behind End Andrews, just trying to plod away with these tyres. They've got no threats behind. They do have an issue though, and that is a retirement on lap 24 to 29. No way! And that's a safety car. A safety car is deployed. Eagerpro's going to hate this. Zingy immediately reacting to the pit lane. Oh, no, no, no. As we were just saying, he was doing a great job just holding the position. And that is not the way that was intended to go. Zingy is now got a bit of work to do to try and hold this P1. It's not going to be easy. Kaspersky is going to try and go long on these tyres. The tyres aren't exactly too old. They're now in the lead of the Grand Prix. Sidewinder's going to unlap himself, and the fastest lap is probably going to be very difficult to get now, as everybody's going to be on that fresh set. Eager Pro, is he going to go into the pit lane? I'd assume he is. And Andrews all of a sudden is back into this race after their troublesome start, staying in the race, keeping consistent. He's now here. And very, very good job for him. I do not believe it, though. That is such a heartbreaking moment there for PJ and Alfa Romeo as well. They were looking at some very nice points. Not an advantage over AlphaTauri, but still very nice points, which is now just gone. What a shame. The other Alfa Romeo does lead the race. They've got those medium tyres on, so they're taking a gamble. Right now, well, if they did it in a different way, if they went for that soft tyre, they'd be on equal tyres, but they would still be in P3. And Andrews, we know, is pretty quick, so he might gain something. He's now leading the race. He's got 2 cars between where he was, or he's got, yeah, pretty much. He's got a couple cars in between where he was originally. So if he can defend and get a nice, good safety car restart, he might have a chance at, if not winning this race, go for an extra position. Yeah, he can go for this P1. He can go for this P1. It's going to be a tough job, but it's not going to be impossible. Now, we do have Katana jumping Eager Pro in the pit lane. Now, I'm thinking, are they trying to wait a little bit longer to get some fresher tyres on? Or are they just trying to stay out and gain a bit of track position? The only track position that they gain over is Eager Pro And then Mizzy, of course, is a AI car. So they could go into the pit lane here, get some fresher tyres on, and come out with an advantage to the other cars. The tyres will overheat if they're not careful. They're going to do exactly that. They're going to just lose time to Igapro, who has a time penalty anyway. So it's going to be incredibly difficult. Looking at the time penalties, Heidler's managed to serve his 3 seconds, and that now allows him, of course, to be within the same time penalty range of Igapro, which is pretty nice for him. So there you go. We've got the Haas on 1 lap fresher tyres and everybody. This could be a crucial moment for him. And a nice recovery it would be after both End Andrews and Katana, the 2 reserve drivers, having their issues at the beginning of this race. A big mix-up towards the end. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to get very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's see. Let's see. Castle Sky leads the way. Zingy is in P2. He wants to try and get that P1 back. He's done such a good job so far. He's got a little bit of work to do. Neferjan in P3 and Andrews, Igapro. Mizzy is an AI car, so they won't be classified. That does then promote Katana immediately to P6, followed by Heidler and Sidewinder. He will finish in P8 as long as he finishes this race, of course. And I think we're already past the 90% mark. If I'm not correct, then please correct me. So everybody will score points anyway. I think we're going to be going in on lap 27, because we'll then have 2 laps of racing remaining, which would be lap 28 and 29. And of course, DRS wouldn't be available. It wouldn't be available. DRS could be the only way that Zingy can get past. And if Casper Sky now doesn't have to worry about it, and if he can manage that ERS, and if he can have enough of an advantage just about over Zingy, as well with those medium tyres, he might be alright. And he's got to pray that those soft tyres overheat. He has to pray that those soft tyres just have a little bit too much temperature in. And then he'll be good to go. I'm nervous. I'm very, very nervous. This is going to be so tight. Casper Sky doesn't have the advantage, but also Zingy's not exactly got it easy. If Zingy tries to go for a move, Nifojan has to go for it as well. He has to immediately follow his teammate. Not to go for P1, but to just to secure a P2 from where they were earlier on. Because if Casper Sky manages to split them, it's going to be so difficult for Nifo to go for a move. No DRS is available. ERS is going to be 100% for everyone. What we saw in Mexico last weekend in F1.5 is everybody used all their ERS. All the ERS on the penultimate lap, and on the final lap they pretty much had nothing left. Could we see a repeat of that today? It would just make everybody sitting ducks to themselves, and it would just be either based on setup or exit or mistakes. And regarding the situation with a set of soft tyres, which are pretty fresh, you wouldn't really need to worry. But we're going to cross the sector line. There you go. And we will be returning to racing speed very, very shortly. My heart is pounding. Let's see what we can get here. Casper Sky leads the way. Zingy's going to be the one to react. When will Casper Sky go for it? Waiting for that safety car to get into the pit lane. It's entering around about now. Casper Sky has to get it done. He has to secure a good one. Zingy, however, is the master of safety car restarts. Very good reaction times, and he reacts perfectly, absolutely amazingly. Kaspersky still gets a nice advantage. Is he going to try and send it to the inside? And here we go. Nifo also right behind. He is going to give it a go. He's going to have the inside line, sticks the wheel in, doesn't have the inside line, but swoops around the outside, losing the car. It's Kaspersky, and now Nifojan is also going to try his best to swarm him. Doesn't look like it's going to be so simple. Trying to send it to the inside, but making a mistake and losing the position, it looks like. But no, here comes End Andrews. What a move. What a move. End Andrews into P2 after all of that. And that is Nifo staying in P3, but instead of the Alfa Romeo ahead of them, it's now a Mercedes. That's absolutely incredible. I do not believe it. Nifojan is going to be furious. Kaspersky, in the end, loses an extra position. They might even lose more if they're not careful here. The guys behind, though, they do have time penalties, so they have to be extremely careful. Absolutely crazy stuff going on in the final few laps of the Grand Prix. I do not believe it. Zingy runs away. Nifojan has one chance to try and get back at P2. Otherwise, it's going to be all over. Pro stuck in between these guys at the moment. He can't really gain too much. He's just going to make sure that he doesn't lose anything either. We have Zingy leading the way, but this is the battle. It doesn't look like it's really going to be that easy for Nifo. He can't really find a way through. Is Kaspersky going to try and push back the move? No, but it looked like Pro is going to have a quick look to the inside line. Decides not to go for it, as he might get a switch back. Is it going to be possible on the traction with that soft tyre? No, it won't be. It won't be. He catches a lot, but it's not going to be enough. Not at that corner. I think this is going to be it. Still, what a result, but no! Oh, no, no, no! Pro loses the car and unfortunately takes Katana with him. He will not gain any more positions. He will stay where he is, though, as Heisler does have a time penalty. So what a shame there for Katana. Issues at the end of this race. Nifojan does his best to try and catch up to End Andrews, but End Andrews manages to break away. Kaspersky sits behind, but it's not going to be enough for them either. He's going to still get a podium. It's not going to be where he wants it to be. Zingy, perfect restart. End Andrews gaining on the final few corners. He's got nothing to lose, perhaps a lot to gain. Zingy, he doesn't need to worry about anything. He just needs to make sure he secures the points, and he will be leading even further into this championship. Zingy comes around the final corner. We've seen him for the second time this race, and he will win the Bahrain Grand Prix. The delivery man delivers once again. End Andrews in P2, and Nifo will take a P3 after that one. Kaspersky will settle for a P4. Heisler loses the position to Katana as Katana takes that P5 sidewinder, then Heisler, and then Pro. Of course, Mizzy won't be counted. What a race that was. Wow. Absolutely incredible. A crazy ending, whether it be bad or good for whoever you were supporting there. Absolutely incredible. Mental driving. That was tough. That was very psychologically tough. Zingy, you know he's not one to really be affected by it too much. He knew he could get into the lead. It was just a little bit of hard work that he had to get out the way, and he's done it. Easily done. So well done to him. That's another win in the bag. Is he going to try and go for that consecutive streak again? Will it be possible? That is Zingy taking the win. And Andrews in P2 of the fastest lap. Nifo takes P3. Then we got Kaspersky, Katana, Sidewinder, Mizzy, Heisler, Pro, and then DNFing was PJ and Dave Raptors. Looking at the race director just in case, we will go for it, of course. And then we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to the post-race interviews of the Bahrain Grand Prix. That was a very crazy ending, whoever you were supporting. It was good or bad, of course. We start the interviews with PJ. It was looking like a brilliant result regarding the strategy that you had to stay there. Unfortunately, losing it on the curb.
Yeah.
As soon as we switched over to you on camera, we managed to catch you just about riding the curb, and that was it. Unfortunately, can you take us through the race? Can you take us through the race before that, at least?
Yeah. So, at the beginning, I don't really like this track. I'm not very fast at it, and that's why I also was last in qualifying. But I don't know what happened at the start at turn one, but I also had a very poor start, so I was even the car before turn one, because the AI overtook me and Dave overtook me. But somehow I managed to go completely around the outside to get into P4. And after that, it was just perfect team play between me and Casper, with him towing me and defending. I don't know who it was, but I think it was Andrews. Yeah, and yeah, and Geisler.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if I would have the same strategy as the guys in front of me, I think I would have maybe ended P4, because in the second stint I was just 1 second slower than everyone, and yeah, the incident was very unlucky. But I want to say that it's not like Crashgate in Singapore 2008. It was not my intention to crash at the end so that Casper could win because of the safety car.
It was on camera momentarily anyway, but also even if it was, it didn't actually work. So it's unfortunate, and hopefully it can be better next time around. The next circuit, I can't believe I've forgotten it, because I literally read over the calendar like 7 million times not too long ago. It's Japan. Is that a good track for you, or not so much?
Ooh, I must say I have no idea, because sometimes in some games I liked it, in some games I didn't like it. But I must say, because it is so difficult, it could be an opportunity to get a good result.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, really well done. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
It's not Crashgate.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thank you. Until next week.
And we move on to Casper Sky, the teammate of PJ. Casper, it was a great effort. It was a creative idea to try and stay out. It didn't quite work in the end, but are you still happy with the attempt at least?
Yeah, I thought the gamble would work, but unfortunately, Zingy dived me into turn one, and basically after that, I didn't have anything to say about it. But yeah, I thought it would work. It didn't. That's on me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It was worth the shot, of course. You had everything to play for. Did you not consider going for a set of softs?
I did consider it, but the thing that came to my mind that maybe track position would be better to control the pace after the safety car would come into the pits. But yeah, as I said, it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it was worth a shot. You gave it everything, so well
Of course
done.
it was.
Yeah. Japan, you like that circuit?
Japan, I enjoy racing there.
Land of the anime.
Of course, you can call that my home race if you want.
Fair enough. Looking for a win, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Fair enough.
Maybe if both AlphaTauris won't race.
It is. Maybe. Fair enough. Well, really well done today. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Fast, surprising, gambling.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you. See ya.
And we move on to Heisler. Heisler, that was a tough race. It was looking all right at the start. You were following the Alfa Romeos quite nicely, and then just a spin after a spin after a spin. Were the tyres pretty tough? Hold on. Sorry. My bad. There you go. Were the tyres pretty tough?
I'm a bit confused now, but
Sorry.
but no worries. Were the tires a bit tough? Nah, it's more that this circuit is just yeah. Everyone knows this game is quite random on snaps, but this circuit is one of the worst in my opinion. Yeah, pretty much is that. And I got fucked over in the end by the AI.
Yeah.
So I look back and I should be P7, I think, if you remove the penalty.
Right. Okay.
The 5-second time penalty. I don't know if... Yeah, I can ask it after it, but yeah, that's it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It was tough, but yeah, time penalty remover, get an extra position of that, so that's something to look forward to, I guess. I don't really know what to say. It's just more bad luck and not what we want to see. Japan, do you like that circuit more? You did pretty well last time. I think we saw you race there, if I remember correctly. Do you think
I
you can
can't
do well?
remember.
It was F1.5, and you were at the front for a while.
Oh yeah, but I fucked up. Oh yeah. Was it already without line? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was.
I think
So
it was, yeah. It was one of the first races.
yeah, I was still quite new to the without line stuff. So I think I can do well, but since I don't know the track that well, I don't think I will be that strong.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, really great effort today. It's a shame it didn't go to plan in the end. But can you describe your race in 3 words?
Fuck it, I say 3 words. I can't get luck.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, that was a pretty disappointing ending to the race for you. I don't really know what to say. Can you take us through that one?
Yeah, I mean, when I already started, I already knew this was gonna be a very difficult one. I was off the base basically the whole day, and the day before as well. So I was already like, well, this is gonna be fun. Quali, well, went as I expected. I bottled my last run, but still P2 somehow. So I took it. And then the first few laps were fine. I was behind Zingy. I think I had much lower downforce, so I was in a better position. And then I think lap 9, 10, somewhere in that range, I understeered into the double apex corner, and I got stuck on the curb and just lost like 1.5 seconds, and then that was basically it. Couldn't catch back up, and then he started to push on the new tires and whatnot, and he just pulled away from me. It's honestly embarrassing how much quicker he was. But yeah, I got lucky for once, I guess, with the safety car. So I had another chance to do something, but then he overtook Casper immediately. So I had to overtake Casper as well. So I switched back him. I got a little moment, but I saved it. But then Casper just completely spun in front of me, and I was basically acting like a wall to stop him from dying. So my whole fucking my whole wing was gone, and then Andrews just gets past, and I have to defend from a car on old mediums. So yeah, I mean, would I have won? Maybe. Did I deserve it? No. But did I get good luck? I suppose I didn't again. So yeah.
Yeah, more issues. It was the worst possible outcome, I think, for you, unfortunately. I don't really know what to say. Maybe Zingy, it was a good track for him because it's a heavily traction-dependent circuit. Maybe you can have a better chance at another circuit. You're pretty quick compared to Zingy, if not equal pace at Japan. Do you think you can have a good race there? Maybe go for a win?
I mean, I kind of disagree. I think last time we were around the same pace, but at a certain point he just pulled away. The gap was only 3 seconds, to be fair, but I think he was the quicker driver that day. And it is a track that is not really suited towards the controller, so it was even more difficult for him. So I don't really see, especially with the bad luck and just my own inability to drive consistently and quick enough, that it will probably end up in a P2 or P3 or even lower. But I don't think a win is possible. But we'll see.
We'll see. It won't last forever, I'm sure. I know. I'm not sure. I know it won't. So, yeah, we'll see. One day it will switch around. Great effort. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
I am war.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. And that's been it for today's race. Thank you very much for watching. And Andrews was driver of the day. Hello to everybody in the chat. Once again, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship. We'll be back next weekend for the Japanese Grand Prix. Might be doing some open lobbies on Tuesday. I'll have to let you know. We'll look out for that on Monday or Sunday. There'll be an announcement if it's happening or not. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure, and good night. Bye-bye.